Hi, this is Professor Poyo, and we are going to cover Chapter 1, Learning About Children and Their Literature. I have a couple of guiding questions I want you to be thinking about listed here. What kinds of books were used in your classrooms in elementary school? Just think about what you remember when you were in elementary school and the type of books that were used. Or then when you were in middle school or high school, did you ever have teachers who would use trade books in content areas, classes like science or math or even history? Here's our outline. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about what is children's literature, and then look over the personal value, the academic value of children's literature, and then specifically at child development and what type of literature is appropriate depending upon the age or the cognitive development of the child. Children's literature is the collection of books that are read to and by children. That collection is enormous. Currently, about 25,000 new titles are published every year in the English language alone. Children's literature is defined in terms of content and quality. Content, the experiences of children, both good and bad. The content is relevant and appropriate for age and their development. And then as far as quality goes, not all trade books are worth a child's read. In fact, in a recent year, one major publishing company received 5,000 unsolicited manuscripts, and they only published 2 of them. So trade books here, as you can see, you may notice some titles that are familiar to you. Children's literature comes in many shapes and sizes. In the classroom, you may choose to use trade books like those that are listed here, many of which you are probably familiar with. These books are published for the general public, primarily for entertainment and information. Or you may use children's literature in textbooks, such as those listed here. Often we call these basal readers, and these large books are used for instruction of the language arts curriculum. There's typically many different stories for children found in these textbooks, representing different genres, different themes. It is really important to supplement a textbook like this with trade books. Good books provide an enjoyable read, and good books don't overly teach or moralize. They inspire children to think and use their imagination by introducing readers to unique characters or situations, or show them the world from a unique viewpoint. Good books will help children by making them literate, giving them knowledge of the world and empathy for those with whom they share it, offering them stories and images to furnish their minds and nurture their imaginations, and kindling their appreciation for language used well. There's a landmark report on reading called Becoming a Nation of Readers, and that was back in 1985. Make sure that you look in your textbook at the other findings that are highlighted in tables 1.1 and 1.2, because basically there's all sorts of research that has been done, and what they're finding is that reading aloud to children is pretty critical. The academic value of literature for children has been the topic for numerous research studies. In 2000, the National Reading Panel reported the necessity of including 5 essential reading components for all children in education. And those components include phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency. Good quality literature may be used for all 5 of these components. As you read about other research in literacy, it's always important to keep in mind that if researchers determine a particular intervention or strategy is not statistically significant, this does not mean that there was no impact on their students. What factors could have affected this outcome? Perhaps maybe with that Reading First study, maybe the teachers were not prepared. Maybe they weren't given proper professional development or training in order to use that specific program. Or maybe it was the amount of time that was spent. But basically what I want you to recognize is that although it's indicated that it was not statistically significant. Again, like I said, that doesn't mean that there was no impact at all on the students. However, it's important to note that there was a lot of money that was put into that. And yeah, basically, they did not find that it made that big of a difference. Good children's books embody quality. The words are precisely chosen and often poetic in their sound and imagery. The plot is convincing, the characters believable, and the description is telling. These books are useful for introducing, adding to, and summarizing information from all content areas. Good books expand awareness and give children names for things in the world and for their own experiences. They provide experiences in artistic expression as well, and appreciation for an artist's use of medium, style, and color. Knowing our learners is always a contributing factor to effective instruction. As we plan and select quality literature to be used in our classroom, the children's development must remain central. So how do we select appropriate texts? Well, here's a few that maybe you've read before. I know some of these are my favorite. The Carl books, specifically. When my kids were little, they really liked those because you can kind of create your own story. And the dog basically is the babysitter for the little girl, and it's darling. Pat the Bunny is something that, if you've ever seen the book, there's a lot of tactile experience built into the book. For instance, the puffy part of the bunny that the whoever's reading the book or listening to the book can touch it and feel it. And then probably as you were older, you read Holes or saw the movie. Lots of the books that are great children's literature end up becoming movies, like Bridge to Terabithia, that's another one. But our job, honestly, is to encourage our students to read the book, and probably there wouldn't be much discussion about whether or not the book is better or the movie. I think most likely all of us would concur that the books are typically much better than the movies. So 0 to 2 years old. At this age, everything goes into their mouths. So quality literature for infants to toddlers must promote oral language development. As we select text to use, consideration must be made to the limited attention span and eyesight of this age of learners. Board books, cloth books, plastic books, they're sturdy and they're often sized well for little hands. Books that include interactivity, like Pat the Bunny, which I just mentioned, or appeal to a child's auditory and tactile senses, are often very effective. Additionally, concept books and books with rhyme are good choices for this age. And when I talk about concept books, we're talking about books about color or objects or shapes or even letters. At this age, toddlers are attracted to characters just like them. Olivia and Owen are often seen modeling skills for their readers. Like the younger ages, toddlers are working on their oral language and vocabulary development as well, and concepts like colors and numbers, letters, and shapes. So again, concept books would be entirely appropriate. Wordless picture books are also effective because you can ask the child to make up their own story. And again, that promotes oral language development and storytelling, imaginative thinking as well. Early elementary age children, 4 to 7 years old, appreciate books with characters that display friendship, or characters that are going to school or discovering the world. The use of informational text in addition to narrative text is important at this age group. And because they begin reading independently and they're able to select books that are not only entertaining, but inform and expand their interest in the world around them. Beginner readers often include familiar words, pictures, and patterns that provide clues for reading comprehension. Ages 7 to 9 are often drawn to series books like The Magic School Bus or Magic Tree House, American Girl series. And as their cognitive development affords them the opportunity to understand and accept other perspectives, as well as dive into stories with more complex characters. Probably there's many books that you can remember that were your favorites, perhaps from this age group. These young people, ages 9 to 14, are able to enjoy more complicated literature, full of symbolism and flashbacks, quirky characters with alternative points of view, fantastic worlds set in distant past and distant future, and even survival stories about peers growing up. In review, quality children's literature has several characteristics, such as those listed here. Paying attention to the development of your learners will help you to select those texts that are fresh, interesting, and meaningful to your students as they learn about themselves and their world through diverse characters and a variety of contexts. So as you read through your textbook in Chapter 1, just take note of what makes up good quality literature. And you'll note that Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 go together, so you'll also see a video for Chapter 2. And make sure that you look at the discussion board. We have a couple of threads there that need to be attended to for this week. So have a great time doing it. Enjoy, explore, think, and add to the discussion. All right, that's it. God bless you. Have a great day.